Hey guys, what's up? Supcutie here. Where have I been? What have I been doing? Where have I been? I actually have been a little bored of playing the game, but also I moved. So you see I don't have a green screen anymore, so I moved maybe like 25 minutes away. And I've been playing the game, but I haven't really been competing too much. There haven't really been too many tournaments, so that's just kind of where I've been. But I wanted to bring you guys a video because it was the first Heart of Thorns beta weekend, and Chronomancer was available, so I as you might expect, played some Chronomancer, and I have some footage on my Twitch. But right now, I'm just going to bring you like kind of a tutorial, catch up to speed on just Chronomancer itself and what you can do with it, and just like the build I'm running, etc., etc. So we'll hop over to in-game here, and we'll go ahead and give you the rundown. So the traits here that I'm using are oops, let me just double check this. Okay, perfect, we're good. So, um, now I'm going to preface by saying that this is just like, there may be other builds, there may be other better builds, but this is what I've been running. I've done quite a bit of testing, and this is kind of what I found to be like very good. Now there might be something, you know, where you drop dueling, you take Chrono Phantasma, or you like go into chaos or whatever, but you're not. I think that you have enough survivability now, especially with this shatter, that you actually don't necessarily need to go inspiration for defense, or necessarily even chaos for the stealth. Now I know that stealth has low counterplay and it's like super OP, and that's actually why I'm still kind of on the fence whether I want to use torch over shield. Um, but I don't think you need to go chaos for PU. However, I still need to do more testing, kind of like in the high end tournaments and stuff. But so far, Chronomancer is just really, really good, and you're able to get away with Dom dueling, which is a devastating combo there. So we'll just go through the traits here real quick. So confounding, um, shattered concentration, power block, pretty standard. Desperate decoy here. So blinding dissipation. The reason why I take this is because you have alacrity now, so you don't really need the CDR on sword with Fencer's finesse. So blinding dissipation is basically just the clear choice here. Then I'm taking deceptive evasion. For Chronomancer, I'm taking slow when you interrupt, and this works really well with lost time because you can start getting slows on with your crits, right? And by the way, it's a stacking buff right down here, lost time, and if you have, it applies on the fifth stack. So if you have 4 stacks and you crit or whatever, it'll apply. But if you're blinded, that means if you're blinded, or they're invuln or they're blocking or whatever, it won't waste the fifth charge. So you're basically guaranteed to land the slow whenever it's available, which is like pretty crazy. Uh, and then once that's done, then that means that their casts are slowed, so they're easier to interrupt. So then you can land even more slow. And honestly, slow is just ridiculous. If there's one thing that may be nerfed about Chronomancer, I think it's going to be the slow. Like the uptime is insane, and slow is so good. Um, Excuse me. This is basically the best choice here. I'll talk about the well heal in just a second. It's a potential heal to use, but for right now I think slow is better. For the second trait, gain clone after you shatter. This is the best trait here. The reason is because even if you did a 4 clone shatter, 33% alacrity is only going to give you like a little bit over a second, whereas you gain 1 second per clone that you shatter. So if you're gaining an extra clone after you shatter, your subsequent shatters are going to give you an extra second of alacrity anyway. So you're already surpassing this like almost immediately with this trait. Like it's just basically better. Then lost time, yeah. Like Chrono Phantasma is good. This is not needed if you're running shield, and I'll tell you why in a second. But um, so okay, let me just go over Chrono Phantasma and Illusionary Reversion real quick. So Illusionary Reversion, it will only spawn 1 clone no matter how many clones you have up,
Getting healthier.
right? But it'll do it for each shatter. So clone, 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 right? However, with Chrono Phantasma, it will respawn all of your phantasms at once, but it only respawns them once. So, and it'll daze them, and then they'll attack. So it's actually very strong, but I feel like in the long run, lost time's going to be better. I just feel like slow messes with people more than some extra damage. Now you do get slow on echoes and memory, but I feel like having constant slow on someone like allows your team to take less damage and interrupt easier. I just think slow is better here. Um, these are the utilities I'm using. You can do some crazy things with like, mimic, illusion of life, and then continuum split, and like it can get pretty ridiculous. But I think overall the most balanced utilities are these, which they're the same we've ran with for so long, but it's okay, whatever. They're fun, they're good. The new shatters, you know, giving me a lot of fun, so I'm actually not too upset about that. Signet of Humility, Moa. The reason why you want to take this is because bigger cooldowns benefit more from Continuum Split, just because you can reduce them down to 90 seconds, and they're more powerful because of their large cooldowns. So, um, let's see here. I have my document here, what I was going to cover. So, oh yeah, so let's just go over Continuum Split here real quick. So, when you use Continuum Split, oh man, sorry, this is a bug, and I'll explain the bug in a second, but the sound is so annoying. So when you cast something in Continuum Split, it'll be reset, right? But you can actually precast, then shatter before the cast finishes. So you can actually cast your Moa. Oh my god, I can't detarget that. So you can cast your Moa and then Continuum Split, and then it'll be reset like that. And that's what you want to do. And the reason is because if you get blinded or somebody blocks or you see them dodge or they invuln or whatever, then you can cancel your humility and not blow the shatter. And so that just kind of allows you to react. You can precast into Split for every ability except Portal. If you want Portal to reset, you have to make sure that you spawn the entrance and you spawn the exit within the time frame of the Split. That's the only caveat. The only caveat for that one. So, in terms of my rotation, when I pop Split, it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm going to split here and run over here just to kite someone, or I'm going to split and then just use Moa. Every single time you split, you need to pop every possible cooldown you can possibly pop, and you want to prioritize the bigger cooldowns. So what that means is I'll come into a fight, I'll try to spawn 2 to 3 clones, preferably 3, but I usually don't do less than 2. Because you need the time to cast all these things, and you also don't want to split while there's a lot of AOE because you don't want the portal to be destroyed, the Continuum Rift. So I'll come into a fight, I'll spawn the clones, whatever. I pop this, I'll precast a Moa on someone, pop it. Then immediately what I do is I spawn a portal like very quickly. I try to position myself so that I'm like kind of near my team. Then I'll blink somewhere like up to line of sight or something, and then spawn the other end of the portal. And the reason why you want to do that is because it's a free portal and it gives your team like an in-team fight piece of mobility and like a kiting tool, and it's free. And then I'll dodge roll decoy, and then you want to make sure you use Tides of Time. You can leap, but you don't need to. Then I'll daze. Then I'll swap Greatsword. You knock. You spawn a Berserker. Then I'll probably distort. By then it's probably gonna be over. But your distortion will persist afterwards, and your knock is reset, and your Zerker's reset. Also, during that time, since shatters, you can cast them while you're doing other things. You might as well just use an illusionary persona like Mind Rack and Cry if you have it. Depending on what weapon set you're in when you split, you can do different things. You can, let's say you're starting in Greatsword, you do like a Mirror Blade combo, and then you swap here, and then you Tides of Time or whatever. But so some cool things you can do with Continuum Split are you can use Tides of Time, and I think you can get a double cooldown reduction on it. So it's like this. Yeah, you can get the double cooldown reduction. So that's actually really cool. That's hard to do just because you have such a limited time, and you're trying to pay attention to your positioning, blah blah blah. But it's a high skill cap. But if you can pull something like that off, it's really awesome. If you can, what I mean is if you can catch the return outside of Continuum Split on the Tides of Time. I suggest, if you can, starting in Sword Shield for your Continuum Split, and the reason is because if you cast Tides of Time, then you can get quickness and you can get your other casts off faster, so you can do more inside Continuum Split. But if you can't, it's totally fine. The most important thing is that you get off a Moa, at least get off your Moa, and then usually like a portal, blink portal. just to get that mobility down. Oops, excuse me. Mute this real quick. Sorry. Okay, so let's see what else I want to cover here. Okay, let's talk about this bug real quick. I think this will hopefully be fixed in the future, but I don't know the repro for it yet. But sometimes when you continuum split, it'll like be indestructible, but it also won't despawn, and as a result, like you just won't, your stuff won't be reset. So like I'll blow a MOA portal, blink, blah blah blah, distortion, and then like nothing resets, and I'm like, oh nice, and that's a problem. However, there's something you can do. You can actually just rotate out of that fight and go decap or something. And I'm not sure if it's distant related or timing related or what, but it seems like whenever I get the bug, eventually it'll just port me back. Just regardless of the distance, instantaneously it'll just port me back. And so you can actually go use that to your advantage by going and decapping and then having it port you back or whatever. But like I said, this is a bug. Hopefully they'll fix it. This is beta. It's just something, to get you by for now, I guess. The one thing you don't want to do is use it again if it was previously bugged if you need your cooldowns, because what will happen is you'll use it, nothing will happen, but it'll put your cooldowns that were on cooldown when you first used it back on cooldown out of nowhere, which is really lame. So be careful of that. If you have a portal down, it will inside continuum split, it will persist after continuum split is over. So you can lay them down here like this, right? And it'll still be here, and my portal's up. However, if I use portal, those instantly fade. So just keep that in mind. Some other cool things you can do with continuum split, like let's say you're stomping someone and you need to get the stomp and you have nothing else except like continuum split up or something and like blink. What you can do is continuum split, blink somewhere, and then press it again to cancel it, and you can do like a port stomp like that. You can do that with phase retreat too. But ideally you wouldn't need to do that. You would save it for bigger cooldowns. Let's see, let me go over some stuff here. Yeah, so you could do, mimic, illusion of life, you could do, mimic other things, but I think these are the most balanced. Yeah, sorry, I'm just going over my notes, so I kind of went out of order. So yeah, chaos is pretty good, inspiration's okay, but you don't need the survivability. Illusions, you're not Condi, so you don't need to do that. Oh yeah, so there was this bug with chaos where if you spec'd into Prismatic Understanding and Desperate Decoy, Prismatic Understanding would bug Desperate Decoy and make it proc at 25% health. And since you're not running Chrono, you no longer have that bug, so your Desperate Decoy will actually proc at 50% now, which is super nice. Some people, were like, oh, it's nice that the stealth procs with the vamp with Prismatic Understanding, but I feel like I kind of disagree. I just feel like get the stealth earlier and then make use of it. I don't know. I mean, there are pros and cons to both, I guess, but I'd rather just get stealth earlier and like, be safer. So, oh yeah, okay. So here's a super pro tip just to end this off. So the quickness on Tides of Time. The reason why this is so powerful is because there's a thing in the game right now where you can dodge cast, where if you just press your stow weapon button, it doesn't matter if your weapon's out or stowed, as long as you just press it and then you dodge while casting something in a certain time frame afterwards, you can cast while dodging. So if you do this with heal, let's see if I can do it here. So see how I had vulnerability frames at the end where I was still casting the heal? So if you cast Tides of Time, you get quickness, and so you can dodge heal and have your entire heal within the dodge. So that's really strong. Also, this is really good to do with Mirror Blade, just because it hides the animation. So let's see. So that's pretty cool. Also, if you detarget someone and you shatter with Illusionary Reversion, you won't spawn the clone, so it only works if you're targeting something. So let's try this with the heal. Oh. There we go. So it pretty much did the whole heal and the dodge. Now this is a very like high risk, high reward type of thing. You don't really want to try this in a game until you have it pretty perfected. Dodge casting is something that you can and probably should put into your rotation, but you're dodging while you're doing it. And so it's like if you're using it offensively to like spawn a clone or something, you just want to be careful that you're not just like necessarily wasting the dodge. I mean, you are spawning a clone, but like you just want to make sure, especially on Mesmer, that you're just not dodging for clones too much. Now there have been times where like it's like, you know, I will want to dodge, but I also will want to use an ability, and that this is like a perfect thing to do that with. You know, I'm just like doing my rotation, I swap, and then I'm just like, you know, dodge Mirror Blade, except I was outside of the cone on that one, but anyway, so yeah, just a little pro tip there. Also, there's this bug, it's still in the game with shield, where when you take your shield out, your wings, your back piece will be on the shield, and then they slide back to your body. Isn't that silly? That's just something I noticed because I equipped Mesmer or shield on Mesmer, and I was like, oh wow. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. So you can basically have like perma alacrity and perma slow pretty much up, dude. Like it's insane. I'm just gonna go through like a quick rotation here, and you guys can just kind of see, you know, like this isn't gonna be a perfect rotation or anything, but you can just kind of see like the amount of slow and alacrity I have. I'm gonna also just like use distortion and stuff for alacrity. Just yeah. Anyway, so.
Health, the fury is mine.
So you see that it's like so much slow. And just tons of alacrity. I use this because it spawns the phantasm. That one's a really good one to oh, couldn't catch it. Yeah, so anyway, that one, the shield 4 is a good one to use in continuum split if you have people on you and you're actually gonna block. Otherwise it's a waste of time. You could be casting other things. But there is kind of like a bug thing with it right now, where if you use it, you block, and then you get the second use of it. You can actually interrupt it with autos and then cast it again. So it's just like bubble, 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 and like it actually only block one thing, but you can just like have it perma up, like, and then it won't. You can like basically stop it from spawning the Avenger until you either get hit or, you know, it goes on cooldown like normal. Yeah. So Tides of Time is good to use over Shadow Refuges, just because it, you know, it stuns people. The stun lock potential is so crazy with this spec, like, because you can do like Tides of Time, and then it's like stun stun, then do it again, stun stun. So like, this is kind of like maybe what a
not enough energy.
What a continuum split rotation would look like. Let's see if I can do it. Yeah. So I popped, you know, a couple extra things there just for more clones, but it's like, you know, they're just slowed. You stun them with Tides of Time, and then you daze them to stun them while it's coming back. Then it stuns them again, and then it's like, then you come out of Continuum Shift, stun them again, and then you immob them, and then it comes back and stuns them again. And it's like, if you use the immob while they're in there, then they're going to be immobed, and you can immob them again after Continuum Split is over, and then you could, like, you know, potentially swap Greatsword if you needed to while they're immobed, do Mirror Blade combo. There's just tons of things you can do. Yeah, so hopefully that helped you. Just remember, when you pop Continuum Split, do like a MOA, lay down your portal, blink somewhere, like, you know, up to somewhere for your team, lay down another portal. You can take the portal back, and, you know, you can like knock, swap, you know, do Tides of Time, make sure to use your shatters while you're inside, and then when it's over, just like take it easy and use your abilities slower again. I will say be careful. Don't spam continuum split, because if you spam it, you'll just enter exit like super fast. It's like the old Death Shroud, I mean not old. It's like Death Shroud on Necro. So you just have to make sure you press it once and you use it, because otherwise, you're like oh shit, and then you just exit, and you're like oh god, I just wasted that 90-second cooldown. Um, Alacrity is really good though. Typically, it's never going to be 90 seconds. It's going to be a lot less. It's honestly up very often because of Alacrity. Yeah. Anyway, don't want to have the video be too much longer. You can check out my Twitch if you want to see some actual gameplay, but this was just kind of some footage giving some pro tips and just some things I found out about it. Remember this, blocks projectiles, and it's a combo finisher. You just have to leap while you're inside of it, so typically I'll wait for it to return, and then I missed it. But like you have to basically be inside the little traveling field to get the chaos armor. It's typically pretty hard to get off. When you're in a fight and you're like trying to kite and you're trying to like intercept it and stuff. Especially because like if your leap clone is on them and you're trying to intercept it over here, like it's sometimes, I mean, you can do it. I'm not saying it's like super hard, but it's just slightly more difficult. So. Anything else? I did quite a bit of testing for like random bugs and stuff. ICDs of sigils and traits do not reset inside continuum split. So like vamp, you won't get your vamp back, your mist. You won't get your sigil procs or your rune procs double. It's only like your utilities and skills and endurance and health and stuff, which is a lot. But yeah, so alright, let me know if you guys have any questions. Hope that helped you out, and talk to you guys later. See ya.